Welcome back to the Question, of Blog Talk Radio conversation with Doug Pagitt and Steve Schirber, where we're talking about a whole number of things, including as an illustration of the kind of things that Steve wants you to think about when you're thinking about remodeling your house and doing it yourself, like I'm thinking about. My front stoop. So what I think out here, Mr. Schirber, is I've already got the main stair landing area. I kind of need one step and down, so I need them to touch up the top. One step. You're suggesting, no, the right way is rip that out, dig down, put footings. Come on.
There's only one certainty on this, and that is a complete start over. And a complete start over would mean removing that existing step, and then you would have to put footings down below frost, and then you'd have to re-pour this thing, and this new step would have to meet code. Code being certain riser requirements and tread requirements and a landing outside your door requirement. That's the only thing that's certain. So the question you ask, what should I be asking this guy, I think has very little to do with the particulars of your concrete. And I think the process should always go like this, especially from somebody that is not necessarily speccing something they specifically want done, but sort of wondering, what should I do, what's the possibilities, and what will it cost?
Yeah.
The solution is you call about 15 contractors and you ask them all the same set of questions. And the questions are, I have the staircase, what do you think I should do about this? And you let them give you the answers. And then what's key is, it doesn't matter what they tell you, it matters whether or not what they tell you is true and accurate, and whether or not they can deliver upon it, and whether or not they have a history of delivering upon what they say they're going to do. And if they don't deliver upon it, do they have something to back it up, like insurance? I think those are more critical than anything, because you'll get 15 guys out here and could potentially give you 15 different possible solutions, but each of those guys will include the solution of tear it out and redo it.
Yeah.
And if they think that you're not going to go with that, you want something that's cheaper and more inexpensive, they'll give you some other option. But they're going to say things to you like, well, I could put a topping coat on there, but I can't warranty it, because you don't warranty concrete less than an inch thick, or whatever range that they're going to give you. And the reason for that is because concrete is not very strong in terms of tensile strength. It's very strong in terms of compressive strength. And in order to get strength and tension, you have to put rebar and steel and stuff in there. And you're not going to get development strength out of concrete, which is the strength that it develops by having metal inside of it, with only an inch thick. Plus, when you start to pour down really thin, it tends to crack and chip and get brittle very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
see, because, and this is always what people raise in situations like this, is in some ways this is a temporary fix, because ultimately we're going to put a front porch on, which would take that whole thing out.
Yep.
So I don't need a 30-year stair out there.
Right. Well, that's the question.
What
are your expectations?
I need a 3 to 5 year stair out there.
Because if a guy comes out and says, yeah, I'll put a topping coat on this thing and it'll look great, and I'll stamp it and I'll stain it so it looks great.
Yeah.
And next year it pops off, would you be pissed?
Well, next year, but 3 years I won't.
What if it's a year and a half? So you're going to ask him for a 3-year guarantee?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay.
I want it to work for 3 years.
I don't think anybody will do that.
Yeah.
They'll either guarantee it for the
time.
standard long distance price, or they'll say, I'll do sort of a cheap, quick fix, but I don't want you calling me next year if the thing doesn't work. Because nobody wants that callback.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They want to do it right. And the other thing you got to remember is, if somebody promises you the moon for $300 over there,
can you do that for $300? Because that's a deal.
I'm just saying, if somebody does,
I don't need the moon. I need
beware.
one step and a top coat.
Beware. You get what you pay for. That's the bottom line. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
There are no deals out there.
Yes. But I don't need a Lamborghini. I need a 1997 neon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that
that's the
doesn't
hard.
include stamping and staining.
It
That's
doesn't.
that's like taking a 97 neon and taking it down to the Lamborghini shop to get a paint job by the Italians.
Okay, I got you.
It becomes wasted money. Just get a topping coat, or I think, me personally, the solution out there is top coat it and do a lick and stick sort of paver on top of it. You know, like you're tiling it with a thinner facade brick or paver, or stone
Yeah.
of some sort. That's the fix that you're going to get that I think will be the best.
Yeah.
And the reality is that if you pay a professional to do that, that thing right there is going to be $1,000 to have that done. You pay a hack to do it, you might as well have Taylor do it for free.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And see, and I think that this is the kind of conversation that all of us home owners get into between do it yourself, what's good enough, and
totally. And it's one of the hardest questions I have to answer, because when people ask me to give them a bid and they say things like, I want a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Your definition of pretty good
Yeah.
is completely undescribable to me until I give you a finished product and go there. And at that point, there's no turning back, and you may go, that's not pretty good. Or you may go, oh, that's perfect. I have no way. So you have to really flesh it out with these questions, and homeowners tend to get really frustrated with, can't you just do this? No, I can't do just this, and this, because you're going to call me a week later, and I don't want to hear from you ever again.
Yeah.
I want to be done with this job.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
I'm making no money on it.
I guess if I hear from you, I want to hear from you about the next project that you're really excited to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. The big dollar one.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm always telling homeowners. I mean, you look at the remodeling the remodeling addiction that we have in this country, the pornography crisis in remodeling. And what you find is people don't want to reconcile reality to fantasy. And they will say, well, if it's possible I could get this for this, I want to at least try. Yeah. And they'll bang on that door until they get burnt, and then they come crawling back with their tail between their legs going, that was stupid. Why didn't somebody tell me?
Yeah. And really what people ought to ask at that point is, how'd you get the tail? It's kind of cool. Because that could help a lot.
Is that what it's called?
If you could swing by it.
The sacral bone.
But the other thing is, like this guy, okay, so I'm thinking, so let's say this guy does a fine job, but the concrete market has slowed up. Mm-hmm. And now this guy has a range.
Yeah.
He has a range at which he charges, and he has a range at which he's willing to work and all of this. And if I can get him at a time where he's saying, I could use the work this week, and it's better for me to do this for $300 than to let you pass where last week I would have charged you $600. I'll do the thing for $300. It's that totally negotiation, and that's what makes it hard on a homeowner to know.
There's a fundamental flaw in that's challenging for me, and that is that when the market's good, people charge a certain rate.
Yeah.
And when it's not good, they charge a different rate.
Yeah, right.
And the interpolation of that from the consumer is there's room to negotiate.
Yeah.
But the reality is that when you're charging this rate, you're charging that rate because that's what it takes to do the job right and make money. So when you charge this rate down here, you're either not making money or you're not doing the job right. There isn't sort of this fluff of money that you can kind of go, well, yeah, I've been making tons of money off these people. I've got some room to give back. Yeah. It's this, I'm either going to have to cut corners, I'm going to have to lay off people, I'm going to have to drop my overhead, or I'm going to have to make no money. Yes. And there's this myth that exists amongst contractors. Keep in mind who you're working with. A guy that's going to come out who's a concrete guy, this guy didn't get his MBA in business. He doesn't understand the economics of running a business. Most business owners fail. Yeah. 50% of them fail a year. Yeah. And they don't last very long. And the reason they don't last long is because the guy knows how to sling mud. He does not know how to run a business. Right.
Which is what I want. I don't want him to run I don't want him, right? Like, this is what's funny as the consumer of a Craigslist kind of contractor. Yeah. Right. I don't want the guy, I'm not concerned about the health of his business long term. Right. What I'm concerned about is, can you put a stair on there for about $500? Yeah. Right. So that's what's funny about
it does on the bigger picture, though, is that attitude exists out there, that people feel as though there's an opportunity to get a deal here, and one of two things happen. The guy does a really good job, but loses money or doesn't make any money on it, and he goes out of business. And there's that contribution. It's just as much that concrete guy's fault as it is the consumer's fault. But that guy now is going out of business as a result of selling at a lower price. Yeah. And one can look at that in two ways. One is that's positive. It's weeding out the morons, and it's making the field a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is it's creating this unrealistic expectation that everybody is for sale. Everybody can be negotiated with, to a point of contributing to in an economic downturn the lack of knowledge that people have in running their businesses.
Yeah.
And I have mixed feelings on that, because I hate to see guys that are good at what they do go out of business, because they're forced to make decisions that they don't understand the ramifications of, and there's a market for it.
But isn't there another way to think about this? And okay, we're going to come back to this after in the remaining section. We're going to talk a little bit about this. Steve Schirber and Doug Pagitt, Blog Talk Radio.